Hey everybody, we are going to be taking a look at the examining close-mindedness in To Kill a Mockingbird activity here. Now, I've mentioned this in a couple videos, but it would be a good idea to have a To Kill a Mockingbird folder. At the end of the unit, we're going to be writing a paper that's going to revolve around a theme of your choice. So a lot of these activities will be helpful to reference when you go to write that paper later on. So it'd be a good idea to have a folder so you can put any of those documents in there. Now, first thing I want to mention is that we are going to be having a discussion about closed-mindedness, a Zoom discussion on this later in the week. So be on the lookout for that either Thursday or Friday this week. I'm just going to go through how to do the first page of this document. The second page is going to be examining closed-mindedness with the focus on theme and coming up with a theme statement. So don't really worry about that. I'll talk more about that later in the week. What I want you to focus on is getting this 4-square graphic organizer done and then also answering this last question here. So if you look here, the directions say, so far in our story, closed-mindedness comes in the form of racism, sexism, prejudice, fear of outsiders, etc. So think of times in the story where we see racism, sexism, prejudice, fear of outsiders, and any other type of closed-mindedness you witness in the story. A lot of times, the closed-mindedness is in reference to a group of people or a person. Now, people could be closed-minded when it comes to a lot of things. So they can be closed-minded when it comes to change or new experiences. So any instances of closed-mindedness you see in the story, feel free to reflect on those here. Now, you're also going to examine how these instances of closed-mindedness in our story are also reflected in current examples we see of closed-mindedness, both in our personal lives and in society. So this is the theme part of it. This is where we say, okay, here's this story I'm reading. Here are some of the big ideas in that story. And then here's where I see that in real life. All right. So this first box says list instances where we see closed-mindedness in the story. Now I'll give us some hints. So first of all, you might look at the Radley situation, how people are closed-minded about them. Again, the more specific we could be here, the better. We also know that Macomians are pretty closed-minded to newcomers. So we see how they react to people like Miss Caroline or even Dill at times in our story. We know that this is a somewhat racist community. We haven't seen explicit examples of racism yet in the story, but we've definitely seen comments and statements by people that definitely convey closed-mindedness in terms of race. We've also seen instances of sexism. So just looking at how Jem treats Scout, and he calls her over and over that heinous word, girl, right? That she sees as this deep insult. And even the way she views being a girl can be examined here. So look at instances of closed-mindedness in any form, and then what you're going to do is list those examples in this first box. Then what you're going to do in the second box is list instances in your own life where you've seen closed-mindedness. Maybe you've witnessed it in a sibling, a parent, yourself. So try to reflect on instances where closed-mindedness has become clear in your own life. And then the third example is instances in society where you see closed-mindedness. So in terms of like what you're seeing in the news, where you see people being closed-minded, think about that. A helpful thing might be to just, if you're unsure, pull up a news source and start looking, and then list some examples in society where we see closed-mindedness there. And then 4, what do you think Harper Lee, our author, believes to be true about closed-mindedness? So maybe what does she think are some of the consequences? What does she view as being problematic with closed-mindedness? So on and so forth. So list some of those ideas here. All right, and then the last thing that you need to do on page 1 is explain how instances of closed-mindedness in the story connect with instances of closed-mindedness you have observed. So you're going to go back to this chart and make some comparisons of where you see closed-mindedness in the story, where you see it in your own life or in society, and then try to draw some parallels. So what similarities do you see in these examples? And that's going to help us really develop that theme statement later on. So the last part of this is developing and coming up with a theme statement. I'm not going to get into it, like I said, today because we're going to talk later in the week more about this. But if you want to give it a stab right now, you can. Just follow the directions and follow the example that is listed there. But like I said, we'll be going more over this later on. All right. Other than that, make sure you're keeping up with your reading assignments in Buzz, and then make sure you're filling out that active reading journal. All right. That's it for today. I will see you later.